Well, it's noon here in the condo in Ventnor, New Jersey, and it's this is news that you can use from CarEdge for Friday, February 10th. Um, I'm in the living room. Zach, I think you're in
Hmm.
the kitchen, and I understand we might have a guest today who's in the office.
Pops, I think someone's at the door. Can you let him in?
Uh, Oh my God! It's the F and I goddess herself, Miss Kimberly Kline. She's
Hi, guys.
working out of my office today. This is just so perfect.
Yep, I got my handy cooler over here to
Hmm.
keep me hydrated all day while I'm here working right around the corner from you
And
guys.
I
So,
will tell you, it is well stocked, that cooler.
oh, it is. I've gone through so yes, it is well stocked. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ray, for
you're
that.
welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
happy Friday, gang. Kimberly, thanks for being
yeah.
here with us. How are things going on your end? What's top of mind today?
Well, here's what's at top of mind. Top of mind is the heat that buyers are about to feel in the finance office. That's
Hmm.
what's on top of my mind right now. And I know Ray and I have discussed this. We have a couple of reasons why. And what do you think? What do you think? Is that something worthy to
Well,
discuss? And of course, I have a couple tips too, but
I think it's worthy to discuss, and I want to know why why you feel that way, that the heat is going to be turned up on the customers in the F and I office.
well, a couple of reasons. First one being, as we know, the finance office is a powerhouse of a dealership, right? And Ray, you brought something up so good yesterday. You know, finance managers have, I don't know, maybe rest a little heavy in their chair recently because, as I've said many times, they've dug their heels in the same way the front end has dug their heels in. And they've made a lot of money.
Hmm.
Take it or leave it mentality. You don't
Mm.
want it? Fine. Make it up on the next guy. Well, now all of a sudden, with the interest rates going up and other factors that I'm sure we'll talk about, but with the interest rates going up, you're going to see more buy rates coming into play because as a finance manager, I need to squeeze in some product here and make some money and try and keep you within a certain payment. I mean, that's always the name of the game. But now with the interest rates being so high, I'm not going to be able to hold 2 points on you probably and shove a $4,000 warranty in there and all the other goodies that go with it. So, finance managers are going to be putting more heat on the consumer to buy those products because I'm going to write that at buy rate so I can squeeze that in and get paid.
So, and just for some new viewers out there who don't know car dealer lingo and exactly what buy rate is and sell rate, when you go into a dealership and you apply for a car loan, the dealership is the one applying for the car loan for you. It's what's known as indirect lending, so that you're not going directly to the bank. The dealership is doing it on your behalf. The bank will issue an approval or a denial. And if there's an approval, they will tell the dealership how much they're going to charge the dealership for that loan, what the APR can be for that loan. That is what's known as the buy rate. The dealership is then free to mark up that buy rate to the consumer. Typically, it is around 2% that the F&I managers will try and mark up the rate. So if the buy rate is 6%, the F&I manager is going to tell you, well, great news, I was able to get you 8%. Okay. And they get, the finance department gets paid on that 2% spread in the rate. So if rates are as high as they are and people are as concerned as they are about payments, it's going to be harder, as you say, Kimberly, to hold that spread. And you've got to make money somewhere in the
And
F&I office.
and Ray, why don't you talk about why you, the sales manager, you're going to be relying on me even more now to make money for the dealership and the finance office. I mean, no pressure here.
Yeah. Uh,
You
yeah, we are starting to see in many cases an influx of inventory. With inventory comes the need to sell that more quickly. Where many dealerships are no longer in the position where they can say to the consumer, well, if you don't buy it, the next person will. They now have to go back to the old tactics of, I don't know, actually trying to sell somebody a car, as opposed to just saying, here's the deal, take it or leave it. If you want to leave it, get out of my way.
Right.
There's a plethora of people behind you looking to buy this vehicle. And that's not necessarily the case anymore. So sales managers are going to be forced to discount cars in order to get them into the payment range that the customer might approve. Sales managers are also probably going to work the interest rates closer to the buy rate than the finance manager would like, in order to preserve whatever profits they can in the front, and then tell the finance manager, hey, we got them to say yes. Now it's your job to get them to say yes to something else.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't leave you a lot of room here.
Exactly. So
yeah.
Ray, explain that. That's like the worksheet that gets sent out. It gets sent out to the salesperson to show the buyer the different terms. We see them in the community all the time. Thank you, community, for sharing your documents with us. But that's what you see. You'll see maybe 48 months, 60 months, 72. Now we're seeing 72 and 84 months. And you, the sales manager, are desking that deal to show a range of payments. We don't know what your credit looks like yet. We haven't pulled your credit. We haven't sent the deal in with the deal structure. So, you got to come up with something. Well, generally, that range is this big. And now I'm thinking that range might be this big.
I'm pretty sure the range is getting smaller and smaller. It's the sales manager's first goal is to sell a car. He or she has got to get the customer to say yes to something. Okay. If, as the sales manager and the salesperson, you can't get the customer to say yes, well, there's no opportunity there for the finance department. So, and I can't tell you the number of times where we struggled to get to a payment that the customer said was acceptable. Okay. And let's say, since, I'm older, let's say that payment was $400 a month. And we would struggle. We'd cut the front end gross. We would cut the interest rates to get to that payment of $400 a month. And that's the most the customer could pay. Well, when they finally left,
they were at
$550 a month. And it was like, how the hell did that happen?
How did that happen?
They busted our chops on the sales side of things for like an hour and a half to get the $400 a month. They spend 30 minutes with the finance manager, and they've got a $4,000 warranty. They got dent and ding protection. They got tire and wheel. Oh, and they went from 60 months to 72 months, and they're now at $550 a month. So the hardest part for the sales managers to get that first yes, and once you get that first yes, then it becomes easier, hopefully, for the finance manager to get some additional yeses for product and rate. But with interest rates as high as they are, with inventory starting to grow, it's going to be harder and harder to keep those payments affordable for more and more people, which is the amount of pressure that customers are about to feel when they get into the F&I office. I don't know. It's probably the same type of pressure that ends up producing diamonds. It takes a lot of pressure to make a diamond.
That's a great analogy. Great analogy, Ray.
So
hey, let's jump to the chat, guys. We've got
we've got a lot of really good questions coming in, as well as a thoughtful contribution from Michael. So let's jump here for
Well,
a quick
thank
second.
you,
So
Michael.
Michael, thank you for the contribution. Waldorf Honda, I guess that's Waldorf, Maryland, has
Yes.
had a 2023 Civic Type R ever since it arrived on December 13th. They were asking $18,000 over, and about a month ago dropped it to $12,000 over. No takers. Still can't be too surprised, even on those specialty vehicles. We should be proud that people are not spending that much money on air.
And Zach, that's not to say that there aren't other Honda dealers in more affluent locations that are not only asking that $18,000 but getting it. And in Waldorf, that just might not be the case. You know, they might actually have to drop it to 6,000 over.
Hmm. I mean, they might.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
We've got here from Douglas. Thanks, Douglas. Hello, Kimberly, Zach, and Ray from Nebraska. You guys think buy here, pay here dealers will have a great year sales-wise? Love your content. I'm very curious to see how both of you think about this. Buy
That's
here,
a
pay here.
great
Do we think they're going to have a
question.
big year? What do you think, Kimberly?
Great question. I think that they're going to have a bigger year than what they've had previously. Yes.
Why is that?
You know, banks are well, their guidelines are tightening. So banks are requiring better credit scores,
Mhm.
more money down. And you know what, guys? I know you know this, but not everybody has a 750 credit score. And with the pricing of used vehicles, well, to me, in my mind, I think it makes a perfect little storm, perfect little ball of wax for more and more buy here, pay here's to pop up. That's my opinion.
And
What do you think, Pops?
you know, the quality of the cars that the people are going to get at those buy here, pay here lots is really going to go down even more than what they have been in the past. Because we know from looking at auction data that it's just, in a lot of cases, it's just the crap that's really being sent to the auctions. And the prices that the dealers are having to pay for the crap is much higher than they would like it to be. So I can't imagine at too many buy here, pay here stores where they're going to buy this crap and they're going to have to overpay for it, and then they're not really going to want to invest too much more to fix it up a little bit before they turn around and sell it. But
Yeah.
I think I think between inflation, interest rates, everything else, yeah, well, more people will find themselves at the dealership of last resort, which is buy here, pay here stores. And
Yeah.
so I would suspect that buy here, pay here dealers will probably have a banner year. Just a suspicion.
Yeah.
Let's keep running through the chat, guys. There's so many great messages here, and maybe I'm just maybe this will be part of our Friday thing. Is going back, because we used to do this way back when we used to even do
Yeah, we
call-in
did.
shows. Let us know in the chat. Do you miss call-in shows? Because if you did, we can obviously do that again. Yeah.
May I
Do
say
you
something?
guys miss call-in shows?
I do. Personally, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I missed the most about the call-in shows? When we would get a caller who would just drone on for 5 minutes at a time and never say anything. But I do miss the call-in shows. I really do.
Do you, Kimberly?
How about you, Kimberly?
I do. I thought it was fun. And Zach, I think you always handled them really, really good, because when you have a call-in show, you've got to keep people moving. You know, you got to keep them going. And I thought Zach did a great job at that and handling them.
So
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, we'll see, guys. Maybe tomorrow night, Pops, we can do a call-in show.
Oh, that would be
Kimberly,
fun.
maybe you
Yeah.
can call in if you're around. All right, from
Yeah.
Clinton.
I might.
Clinton, thank you for the contribution. Why
Thank
is
you,
Toyota
Clinton.
refusing to build Sienna LEs? Also, fake dealer listing on their websites. All the ones I call that showed the Sienna LE as fake. Cloth seat gang in the house, by the way. We did a video on this, Clinton. Toyota has made a very intentional decision, and let's do it all together, guys. Let's let's do it quickly here. Let me pull up, go to CarEdge, and we can do this as a team. Let's see how many Sienna LEs are out there in the market right now. Let's go to my CarEdge. I'm going to go click on buy Toyota Sienna. Any guesses, guys? Any guesses? How many Sienna LEs? And we're going to do it nationwide.
331.
All right, so nationwide, there are over 2,000 Sienna LEs that are currently listed. There's usually some junk in the listing, so I'm going to change this to 2022 to 2023 just to get rid of any junk in there. All right, so 2,003. All right, so there wasn't any. 2,366. Now let's sort by trim. Moment of truth. Drum roll, please. 321. Supposedly.
I was off by
321.
10.
What?
I was off by
Wait,
10.
Did
Your
you
guess,
research? You researched this ahead of time.
I
How
had
do you
no
do that?
idea. I had no idea Clinton was going to ask us about Sienna LEs. So.
What?
Yeah. Now, and here's my other guess. Out of that 321, 3 actually exist.
That's so crazy. Oh
Yeah,
my
'cause
God.
they're not making them. Toyota
Mm.
is not making them. So, yeah, you know, this must be allocation and unbuilt allocation that dealers are listing.
Mhm.
You know, and it's unfortunate, but when you have a limited amount of chips, we know what the manufacturers do, and they allocate those chips to the higher profit margin vehicles. So, which was the situation that your sister Zach found herself in because she really wanted an Outback, but she couldn't find any base Outbacks or any premium Outbacks because, well, Subaru really wasn't making any.
What a great lead magnet, right? That's a great lead magnet. I'm gonna pick up the phone. Hey, yeah, I want to come in and look at that Toyota Sienna you have listed. Oh, you don't have any? Oh, you want me to come in and look at a different? Okay, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. You know, it's a good lead magnet to kind of suck you in there.
That's what they do.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. All right, let's keep running through the chat here, guys. There are so many great questions. Also, we're getting some feedback here missing the call-ins, so likely we will do that. Turbo, I think you are correct. That is not a Friday half-hour show. That is a Saturday night thing, so they're able to actually do it. We've got here, guys, a question from, excuse me, Steven. On average, how much does a new vehicle's price drop when it is sent to the auction? And I don't know, Dad, maybe you can speak to this. I don't think a lot of new vehicles make it to auction. I mean, occasionally they do, but I think the question here is really like, how much of a loss does a dealer take on a vehicle that ultimately goes to auction instead of being sold to a retail customer?
Yeah, I mean, there have been times where we have, you know, in the olden days when there was an ample supply of new cars, there have been times where we took some of our new cars and actually ended up sending them to the auction because, you know, we just couldn't get a retail customer for it and we took a loss. Now, you know, the car might have gone through the sale. It might have had 15 miles on it. You know, we might have lost $1,000, $1,500 below invoice on a vehicle like that. And typically if you have a car, if a dealership has a car and they have like a 90-day policy where at 90 days, either you've retailed it or it's just going to the auction. You know, if Black Book says that cars typically depreciate between 1 and 1.25% a month. So if the car's been sitting for 3 months, you're going to lose probably somewhere around 4.5%. So the value today is going to be probably 4.5 to 5% below what it was when you bought it 90 days ago. Now, having said that, in today's market, things are going crazy again at the auctions for nice vehicles, and something that has sat on a dealer's lot that might have been reconditioned, that's still somewhat lot ready, that would be a desirable car at the auction today. So if you were to take a car like that to the auction today, you might actually break even or make some money with what auction values have been over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I know Igor was at the sales yesterday, and I am sure he saw prices that were extremely elevated for nice vehicles and probably even not so nice vehicles. So it just depends on what the market conditions are at the moment. But typically, you would expect to lose $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. It just depends on the type of vehicle and how long you've been sitting on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Kimberly, if you have other thoughts there.
No, Go ahead.
So we've got a couple other questions in here, guys. Well, actually, a lot of questions in
Okay.
here.
Okay.
How about we do this one from Jamie? I was told by
Okay.
a dealer that they don't use Black Book. Are they lying?
Not necessarily. I mean, some dealers don't.
Right.
Some dealers use Blue Book. Some dealers use NADA. Some dealers use GALVs. Many dealers just rely on V-Auto, which is a tool. And many dealers just rely on MMR, which is Manheim Market Reports, based on what's actually happening at the Manheim auctions. So not everybody uses Black Book. I know Black Book wishes everybody did.
We pulled a deal, when we would book out cars for the lenders to structure the loan, we would pull an NADA value through DealerTrack.
Yes.
Which we were connected with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know
So
there's
there.
different use cases for different values. Like the banks like NADA more because I don't know. Does it value the car higher or lower? I think it values the car higher, so it makes the loan to value ratio look better when they're lending against the car versus the values you get from like a Blue Book, which will typically be lower because then the dealer can offer you less because KBB isn't. And then there's Black. It's like there's a use case for each of these different values.
Exactly. Well said. Yes.
Yes.
All right, guys. Here's the deal. I unfortunately am gonna have to jump for another very important, but it's not as important as this. But I have a commitment that I got to be ready for in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There are so many questions in the chat. You guys see all the ones that I've started.
Really?
Can
No.
you guys keep it going? I think everyone would be thrilled if you spent a little more time on and you actually answered a few more of these questions. So can I queue up one more for you both?
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I'm gonna click the little button and
And you're gonna disappear.
that's okay.
And then you're gonna go. Okay. Thank you for being here, Zach.
Yeah.
From Mark, do you see lease deals getting better? Have fun with this one, guys. Happy Friday, everyone, and I'll see you on Saturday
Friday.
night. See you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
See
Take
you,
care.
handsome.
Lease deals, do I see them getting better on a timeline now? No. In the future? Yes.
Yeah, I know that leasing last year represented about 16% of all car sales. In previous years, leasing would account for 30 to 32% of all car sales. Over the past couple of years, manufacturers have made it a point not to really support leasing to any great degree with incentives to make vehicles more affordable. I was reading today where I think the affordability issue is going to rear its ugly head again, and it's going to force manufacturers to put more incentives on leasing so that they can make the cars more affordable. No, the people won't own them. They'll only be renting them. But they'll be renting them at a payment that is more affordable than if they went to a 72 or 84-month loan. So I think.
And then Ray, they get they have the hopes of getting those vehicles back at the end of their lease, right? So I mean, it just makes sense that they would look, give some incentives back to leasing.
Well, yeah, especially if there's a shortage of used cars, and we know that there is. Okay. It would make more sense if you had more people in 36-month loan or 36-month leases, knowing that those cars have to come back. And a lot of the leasing companies are getting to the point where they're taking out that option of the customer being able to buy the vehicle out at the end of the lease. So if they take out that option, then everybody knows that these vehicles are coming back in 3 years. That would help used car inventories.
Absolutely.
It helps affordability on a new car, and it would help used car inventories 3 years from now. So, the fact that they abandoned it 2 years ago, and now we're in a deeper used car crisis than we were before, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the manufacturers are going to have to support it. I believe,
right.
looking here, are you pulling one
Oh,
up or am I?
I just did. Yeah. Sorry. I was
Okay,
trigger happy.
it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Amy, recommended Toyota Camry hybrid or gas? Love you guys. Thank you, Amy.
I'll let you take a crack at
Oh,
that
no.
one
I was
first.
going to let you take a crack at that one. I have
Uh,
no idea, Amy. I really don't. So many people love hybrids.
if my response would be is if you see yourself at some point maybe wanting to do an electric vehicle, that I would suggest you check maybe a hybrid first as like a bridge to get you from internal combustion engines to full electric, and see if you like the hybrid. Uh, the problem with hybrids, especially the Toyota hybrids, is they tend to be in short supply, which means dealers tend to hold for additional dealer markup on those vehicles. And there's a waiting list for most of them. So if you want a hybrid and you want it today, you're probably not getting it.
Yeah. Going to be on a wait
But
list.
but I can't tell you which way you should go. I personally, I drive an ICE vehicle only because I drive about 300 miles a month, and to buy a hybrid that's more expensive or an electric vehicle that's even more expensive doesn't pencil for me. But that's just me.
Gotcha. Do you want to bring one up now?
Okay, I can do that. From Florida Man, I have been told that some dealers are keeping cars off-site to take advantage of fear of missing out. Any thoughts on this? You want me to go first on this one?
Yes, please do.
Absolutely not. Okay, a dealer is not going to be paying for an additional lot somewhere to go store cars to make it look like he doesn't have any cars.
Right.
Okay, he's paying interest on those cars, the floor plan interest rates on those cars, which have gone up. So I doubt. Now, that's not to say that there might not be a handful of dealers that are trying to do something like that,
Uh-huh.
but I have to believe that the vast majority of dealers would not. What do you think?
Right. I would agree with that at this time. Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
there Go
was
ahead.
there was a time not so long ago, not so many years ago, whenever dealers, well, they would rent fields somewhere to keep overflow.
Overflow. Yeah.
I haven't seen overflow for quite a long time. So no, I don't think so either, Ray.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're in agreement on that.
Yes. Okay. There are a lot, and I'm scrolling through because I saw. Here we go. Talon Dark Forest.
yes.
Would you recommend customers sign the purchase proposal? I'm assuming the purchase order or buyer's order and request to keep a copy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was going to say, and there would be no reason why the dealership wouldn't give you a copy.
100%. Now,
Yeah.
you can always do this. You can always say, would you please have the finance manager print out a purchase order with all the firmed up fees on it for me, please? Firmed up fees are those your state taxes, tags, title, registration. Those are firmed up fees for your state. And the finance manager prints them out. So throw that in there. Could you ask the finance manager to print me out a purchase order with firmed up fees and sign it for me, please? Thank you.
Yeah. And they would definitely give you a copy of it.
All right. A local dealer from Manassas, Virginia, still charging $5,000 over MSRP for the Bolt EUV. What can I do in order to find a good deal? I'm looking for a low price EV vehicle. I'm a member of CarEdge. Thank you. Thank you, Ivan Ramirez.
Well, I think you just keep calling Chevy dealers till you find the one that's not going to charge you $5,000 over, because they're probably out there. And just because they're charging $5,000 or asking $5,000 over doesn't necessarily mean they expect to get it.
Yeah.
You could go in and say, well, I would love to buy the car. I won't pay anything over. What can you do on that 5,000? Maybe they come down to 4, maybe they come down to 2,500. I don't know. And now you can negotiate between 0 and 2,500. But I would just keep making calls to other Chevy dealers. What do you think?
I would too. I would agree. And also, don't forget to go and watch the CarEdge Unplugged, which is coming up
Monday.
on Monday.
Monday.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
watch that too, I would say, with Justice
Yes.
and Ray.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a fun time, I'm telling you. When is the best time to buy if you're financing? Should we hold out? The Lexus IS supply seems to be low. LS supply seems to be low. Having extreme issues finding exactly what I want after an accident. Thank you, Juan. What is the best time to buy if you're financing? I mean, listen, interest rates are just going up and up and up and up. So I would say now
Yes.
before
Yeah.
they continue to go up. And what do you think, Ray?
Yesterday. Yesterday would have been good. Yeah, I mean, interest rates are continuing to go up. So the longer you wait, the greater the likelihood that the interest rate's going to be higher when it is time to actually complete the transaction. And yes, Lexus is in relatively short supply. So either you're going to have to be patient, or you might have to pay just a tad bit more than you would like. But just like the last advice that we gave to Ivan, call around the Lexus dealers, contact more than one Lexus dealer, 2 or 3, see if you can get 1 or 2 to compete against each other for your business, and see what happens.
There you go. Do you have one for us, Ray?
Well, let's see. Here's something from Igor. Just off subject. Today's auction was like deja vu, a repeat from yesterday's auction in a different location. Cars are being once again overbid, especially for 1, 2, and 3-year-olds, and on 10-year-old and older.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is what I heard from my buddy Chip. That stuff that he was buying, like used Camrys that he was buying for 19,000 3 weeks ago, are now going through the sales at 21,500, 22,000. Used Rogues have gone up in the last 3 weeks. Anything that's newer at the moment are being overbid. And a lot of the thinking is that they're being overbid because dealers are expecting a huge tax season.
Right.
And I said it yesterday, tax refunds are going to be smaller this year than last. There was a comment from a tax preparer to the video yesterday, and he said, absolutely, they're much lower, and people are going to be shocked at how small their tax refund is this year. So if you as a dealer are thinking this is going to be the normal tax season spike in sales, you might be sorely disappointed if it doesn't quite work out that way.
Yeah. So, Ray, I mean, listen, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an auction person. I was a finance manager.
Yes.
But isn't it true that every year prices would go up at auction in anticipation for tax season?
Yes.
Okay,
and for the spring selling season, yes.
And for spring, right. They're
Yes.
they go hand in hand. And so, yeah, I thought that was really interesting what Igor said yesterday. And now today we're hearing it's deja vu from yesterday.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't see, as a matter of fact, Meet Kevin had something to say about that yesterday. I don't see where it's just not going to be that this year. Tax season and cars are not going to go hand in hand as they have been in previous years. I don't see that happening.
Yes, I concur.
Colin King for CarEdge. Does it take a soft inquiry for the rates first, and then when we are ready to move on a vehicle, it becomes a hard inquiry? Curious what I could get right now outside of incentive rates. Yes, Colin, that is correct. So when you first go to caredge.com and you click on financing, when you first go through that, it is a soft inquiry, and it will tell you that in the small print at the very, very bottom. But when you're ready to move forward and fill out the credit application and give more information, they will do a hard inquiry, and it will also tell you that as well. So yeah, go check it out. John, you guys should cover the quarterly meetings for these companies and do an analysis of them.
Which companies?
Which ones? Which
And-
ones, John?
And I'm pretty sure they're not letting us in.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh, you have
yeah.
one, Ray?
I don't know which companies it would be. I know we try to look at the data that we see when financial statements, quarterly earnings, things like that, so that we look at the data from the banks and what the banks are doing and things like that, which, as everybody knows, we report back on. And we try our best to extrapolate what we think that portends for the future. But that doesn't mean it's so, because none of us are very good at predicting the future, especially this. Do you want to take a crack at this first?
No,
Kimberly?
no, you. I don't even know who's playing. Is that bad? I know I'm gonna catch heck for that. I'm not into the football ever since I've been out of the dealership. Now, when you work in a dealership, it's a requirement. You must be. You got to play football pools. You got to be in cheerleading. Yeah, but I'm out now. So,
well, I will tell you the two teams that are playing are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Philadelphia Eagles for 12 or 13 years were coached by Andy Reid, who is now the coach and has been the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs for the last 10 years. And so there's this natural conflict there. Now, having been a Philadelphia Eagles season ticket holder when I was a kid in 1962, 63, and 64,
okay.
I still have a certain affinity for the Eagles. So I would like to see the Eagles win. I think the Eagles defense is better than the Chiefs defense, and I think that might be the difference in the game. My prediction for a score is the Eagles 31 and the Chiefs 28. Okay.
Oh, okay. Everybody write that down.
Yeah, and then on Monday, when I'm absolutely wrong, you can bring it up on the Daily Show.
You sure can. Welcome. Oh, okay. Let's do one or two more. What should you do if a dealership ignores your finance letter from your credit union, then claims I'm going to say the same credit union denied your loan? Well, I would contact the credit union myself and find out what's going on with that.
Yes.
That's exactly what I would do. I'd be on the phone at the dealership going, "Hey, credit union, what's going on with this?"
Yeah, 100%. And I would do it right there. Put the credit union on the speakerphone.
100%.
And either prove to the dealer that the dealer's lying to you.
100%.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, did I miss anything else here?
I don't know.
I'm not as good as at this as Zach is.
Well, neither am I.
Well, I guess we could. Ray prediction wrong 10% off. Ray prediction wrong 10% off CarEdge. What?
What? We need Zach. We need Zach for anything off of CarEdge. I got nothing to do with that. I'm just, as I like to say, I'm just the pretty face behind this. I mean, in front of it. Whatever the hell.
You are. You are the prettiest face.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we crushed 40 minutes here.
We crushed it.
Yeah. So another 40 minutes in everybody's life has passed us all by. We thank you all for being here. Kimberly, I thank you. Zach and I will be back here tomorrow night at 7:00 on the CarEdge channel,
Uh-huh.
the main channel, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Otherwise, we will be back here for more news as you can use on CarEdge Monday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Kimberly, have a great weekend. And don't worry about the football game. Nothing special is going on.
Okay, great. I won't.
Okay.
And yep, Justice, don't forget about CarEdge Electric, now unplugged. And so that's coming on Monday too. Lots of good things
Yes.
coming. Everybody
And
have a wonderful weekend. Yeah.
yeah, and I believe right after this show on Monday, I go right over to my other studio. It's the same studio, and head into CarEdge Electric Unplugged, where basically it's we want to be able to have discussions in a civil manner. But taking opposite views, which will be easy for me because everybody knows how I feel about electric vehicles, and it'll be easy for Justice because, well, he owns electric vehicles. So we're going to be on the opposite side of each topic, but we're going to do it nicely. We're
I
going to
can't.
prove that you can have a civil conversation.
I love it. And thank you so much, Florida Man. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. There
There's
you
my little
go.
super sticker dance.
Have a great
Everybody,
weekend.
yeah, everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you back here tomorrow night and Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye.